Hi, it's Jane. Welcome to the Compassion Project. I am super honored today to have Kristin Zako here. Welcome, Kristin.
Hi there.
Today we're going to talk about habit healing and how to heal after loss. So Kristin is a certified life and health coach from Cleveland, Ohio. She is an incredible woman. I am so blessed to have gotten to know you really well this last year, Kristin.
Likewise.
She has overcome a lot in her life, and she is dynamic, she is heart-driven, and she's determined to make a difference in the lives of others and help others heal and move forward. She has had to work very hard on herself to overcome the tragic loss of her nephew and many other things which she's going to share that she's had to overcome in her life. So today, honestly, she's kind enough to share what she's learned and hopefully help others heal and move forward to a life of joy, because so many people have lost in their life and have gone through trauma, and I think it's important to understand that there's different ways of healing and that habits are so powerful. So I just think it's important for you to share what you've been through, and then we'll talk about the loss of your nephew and how you move forward.
Yeah. So
thank you, Kristin.
Oh my God.
I feel so bad bringing you back to a time that was so painful, but I think it's important for people to understand your journey.
You know, Jane, to be honest with you, that all the mess has been my message, and I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now, changing lives and being proof that you can get out of a wicked depression and anxiety. There is hope and healing after hurt. And is even ironically enough, the anniversary of his death, 5 years, is February 9th. So it's interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it'll be 5 years. And I celebrate him so much now.
His name was Nick, right?
Yes, Nick.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I didn't have children, so my nieces and nephews are my babies. So it was like losing a son. But let me just give you guys a background. I woke up in ICU the morning of my first wedding with type 1 diabetes, and I nearly died. A year later, my husband at the time, I found out he was a compulsive gambler and addicted to painkillers, and I almost lost everything. And then I was diagnosed with Graves' disease, which is thyroid. So that's 2 autoimmune diseases that are extremely symptomatic, especially when you first get them. Like you're nearly dying. I mean, it's crazy. And the symptoms, it's hard to lose weight. You have zero energy. It's hard to function. And so now it's like the symptoms are not what they used to be, thankfully. Wow. But it's because of the habit healing and how I live my life every day now. And then my stepnephew Danny was killed in this Chardon school shooting. And when my nephew Aiden was 16 days old, his father broke both of his legs, and we are still dealing with criminal court on that. 3 months after that, my nephew Nick was killed in a car accident.
Oh my goodness. Honestly, how can one person deal with, when I hear that, I feel like not only your physical health and trying to stay healthy and then
that's the battle of the beast right there. That's the battle of the beast. So not only you have all this emotional trauma, you have physical trauma. It took so long for my body to recoup from the original diagnosis, because apparently how I do one thing is how I do everything. My body goes all in. I'm either near death or there's no middle. It's like our bodies are so incredible, and we are built to heal. I truly believe that.
So it's shocking enough to hear about your nephew. How old was he in the school shooting?
He was 16.
I can't imagine. And I can't imagine the shock of when your nephew Nick died. You were so close with him, right?
So close. He was like my son. My sister's kids and I have such a strong bond because I was they lived with us. Like they were my babies. Like I took care of them all the time. I was the 17, 18-year-old. Instead of going out on a Friday night, I would go to my sister's house and say, okay, you guys leave. I want to be with my kids. And it was like a built-in babysitter. So I'm so fortunate to have the connection that I have with those children, like they're my own. And then when Nick passed away and I got that phone call, it was like my life changed forever from one phone call.
So that day, do you mind me asking when you had seen him before that? Like
by Super Bowl Sunday. I got to see him Super Bowl Sunday, and I hadn't seen him in a little bit, and he grew a beard. And I looked at him and I said, oh my God, honey, because I kissed his face and I was like, you need to shave that thing off your beautiful face. You look like the Unabomber. And we laughed about it. And he's like, I knew you were going to say something about that, because he has the most precious face. I mean, I can still see it.
So that was the last time you saw him alive. And then you got the phone call. What does that shock do to your brain, honestly?
I was just getting over a bad cold, and I'm laying on the couch and my phone rings and it's my sister. I said, hello, Nick's dead. And I was like, what? Nick's dead. He was in a car accident. He's dead. I was like, oh, my body reacted vomiting. Like that's how my body, I ran to the bathroom and I started heaving my guts out. And I was just
the shock,
screaming and crying and just like, no, like, why? How does this happen? Like, he's 26 years old. He was, yeah. So it really just, and I mean, listen, anytime somebody passes away, it's so hard. It's so shocking. This was a shock. This was a very unexpected, just boom, out of nowhere. He's here and then he's gone.
When someone dies that young, it is so shocking because you feel like they've just plucked, like they're gone. Where, like how?
It's that fast. And I went through this this roller coaster of, I just didn't even know how to handle it. And so I immediately went to taking care of everybody else mode. And
so you took on that role to hide the pain. You go, okay, I'm okay. I can take care of everyone.
I got this. Like,
okay.
Let me take care of the funeral. Let me take care of this. Let me take care of that. It was all the things. I mean, I didn't take care. I had obviously help from my family, but just to help my sister and brother-in-law out and just try to work through it. And I remember being at Walgreens and I was developing photos, and I lost it at the little kiosk thing where you make the photos. And the woman was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "These are the last pictures I'm ever going to have of him. Like, that's it."
I can't imagine, honestly.
Yeah, it really did a number on me. And then I just went like downhill, and I struggled with vulnerability so big time. I thought, Kristin, you're the go-to girl. You're the resourceful one. You're the one that takes care of everything and plans everything. You need to buck up. Like, you need to. So I just shoved and shoved and shoved, and got to a point where I was so heavy I could barely pull the covers back. It was like an elephant just slapped his butt right on my chest. And to the thought to even go downstairs and brush my teeth and get ready for work was like, every step was like lead boots. Like, I was so heavy. And then anxiety starts. I've never had anxiety. I had a little bit of depression when I first had my near-death experience from diabetes, but it was nothing like this. It was nothing like this.
I think it's so out of control. Like, you feel so out of control, and then you wake up and it's like the past and what's happened is so heavy, like you say, describing that heaviness. How can you get out of bed? And I think people that go through such tragedies and get into that depression, it's that heavy. Like, it can't be true. What do you have to look forward to if you just lost someone? Like, what is there for me? They're gone. Like, I think it would be.
Well, and there was no closure. Like, he hit a tree. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, and that that was what was so hard. And then you start to imagine what happened. Like you start to visualize, because I'm such a visual person, and all I could see was him laying there because he went through the windshield. So I start picturing like a movie of it. Like your mind just starts to go crazy, and then the anxiety kicks in.
Yeah.
And it was so bad. I was on a beach. I was with my sister and my mother, and my stepmother, and family, like family friends. And we're at Myrtle Beach, and I had to walk away from everybody and scream at the top of my lungs. I like dropped to the sand. I was having a massive panic attack of all places on the beach where I have beautiful connection, but I just couldn't. It
panic, but also would it be that release of grief when you're holding it all together for everyone else? You hold it all together, and there's a moment when you just have to let it out.
And so I came back to my family, and my mother said, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I said, "I just had a full-blown anxiety attack." And the woman that we were with, our longtime family friend, she said, "What are you anticipating?" And that was the golden question right there, because it actually made my whole physical body move back. Like, well, what am I anticipating? And so I looked at her and I said, "I don't know. I have to think about that, and I'll get back to you." So about an hour goes by, and we're up at the pier having lunch. And I said, "Lillian, can I talk to you for a second?" She said, "Sure." I said, "I have an answer to that question." And she said, "What is it? What are you anticipating?" And I said, "That phone call, because it's going to happen again."
Oh, so no wonder you had anxiety, because they say that's when we're ahead of ourselves in the future, imagining and out of control, that anxiety happens, or when the depression is lost in the heavens of the past. But anxiety is that you lost control.
Anxiety is anticipation. So if you are struggling with anxiety, what are you anticipating? I mean, the circle of life, of course, I'm going to get that phone call again, unless, that's just what happens. And so having the awareness around where the anxiety was coming from was like, okay, now I am aware of it. I need to regroup and put my focus towards something that's happening right now. Like, what can I do right now? Getting out into nature is my go-to.
Yeah.
That's the most healing, sacred thing that has saved and changed my life.
I find it really interesting. I think this conversation is really important, because I think it's important for people to have different tools and to be aware of habits. And I think habits, they say change your habits, change your life.
It's true.
But it's not easy. It is a lot of work. But I think the first step is awareness, right? You're aware, and all of a sudden you're like, you can't keep living the way you're living. But when did you start realizing the power of that habits for healing? Is that then, that moment?
Well, that gave me great awareness of what I did not want to feel anymore. And having the awareness around it, I knew that I can refocus on something else, instead of keeping the focus on somebody's going to die. I know I'm going to get a phone call again. Right. Somebody I love is going to die, and I'm going to get a phone call again. Like, that's the wheels that were spinning in my head. And so I got to a point where my diabetes was out of control. I was heavy and overweight, no energy. I was back to all the symptoms of everything.
Well, stress too, right?
Yeah, for sure. Stress. You sneeze wrong and your blood sugar fluctuates. It's like, so dealing with those on top of the tragedy of the loss and the grieving process. I don't even know if it's a grieving process. I feel like it never, grief to me is it's the significance of grief is how much you loved, how much you were connected. So the harder you grieve, or the more emotional you are around it, obviously, is because the love that you have with this person. And so it never goes away. So saying it's a process, I don't know if that's accurate, at least to me, because I'll never stop loving Nick. I'll never forget him.
Right. And that's so important. And I had done a chat quite a few months ago with a pastor from the States, Neil Scoring. We talked about grief, and he said something super powerful, and I loved it. And it was that the person, like for you with Nick, when you think about what you loved most about him, he says to bring that into your life and try to live like that. So if Nick, say his best trait was humor or compassion or adventure, then you take that and you live that to celebrate him.
I have so much of that. I tell you stories for days about this kid. I mean, I'll never forget, we took him snowboarding and we couldn't find him. And it was his very first time. He's played football, baseball, like he was an athlete. And he was like, he's walking down the mountain with his snowboard in his hand and he's dripping sweat. He's like, this is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
So he's an adventurer because you are too.
Yes. Yep. And he was up for it. He was up for anything. We would go, he would come camping with us and hiking. And he was so special to me. And I know he's with me on this journey of making an impact. This habit healing 30-day challenge was born from what I've been through.
So let's talk about the habits then. How someone can use habit healing if they've had a loss. And I do have a lot of friends that have had losses and I know how hard it is because I've talked to them. I know how hard it is. And I feel like, what would be the first step for using habits to heal from loss? What do you mean by that? I want you to explain it.
So when this traumas happened in my life, I would form bad habits out of emotion. I was an emotional eater. And I would just get rebellious and not take care of myself. And of course it made me feel even more horrible, but
which I think is common. I think people do that. Yeah,
for sure. Because I mean, emotional eating, it's a trigger in your brain that releases serotonin and all the good things that make you happy. And then 5 minutes later, you're like, ugh. Yeah. In my brain, if you have struggled with emotional eating, it was worth it in that moment to get that little bit of relief from the pressure and the pain and the emotional sadness and grief, because it was like, something's got to give. Something's got to give. Some people go to drugs. Some people go to alcohol. Some people go to what food, everybody has something. And for me, it was horrible for me because of my diabetes. But at that time, I couldn't even think. So what I would suggest when we start to develop these unhealthy habits, we recognize it. And when you're in that depression or you're in that anxiety, for example, when I would wake up in the morning, I couldn't move physically. I couldn't move because of shoving and feeling weak because of
the heaviness.
Yeah. I would have to go to gratitude. And I'm not just saying, oh, I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful. I'm talking like deep, soulful gratitude, and simple. I am so grateful for my 10 fingers and 10 toes. I am so grateful for my heart that beats and keeps my blood flowing. I'm so grateful for my lungs. And that's what I would tell myself over and over and over, because let's be honest, we're not guaranteed tomorrow. And I knew I couldn't stay there. I knew I couldn't stay stuck in that dark side of myself. I couldn't.
And what's interesting right there, you describing that, is you right there were creating a habit of gratitude.
Yes.
So you're starting off where you could in all your pain. You're in bed, you can't get up. So you go to gratitude, and it creates a habit, which is so powerful, right? I think it's so healing. That's probably the best first habit, to find something you're grateful for, anything that you woke up in your eyes. Some people don't have sight, something that you can find in your grief, I guess, right?
Yeah. And then I was never somebody that meditated, but it's changed my life. So I would put on a meditation, just a guided meditation, because quieting my head was not possible at the time. And so I would put a meditation on that would help, just get me back connected to my breath, get me in the now, this moment right now, being grateful that I am here and I am alive and my eyes are open and my able body can walk into my bathroom and brush my teeth and get myself dressed. It was all these things that would go over and over through my head every morning. And then the biggest game changer was incorporating movement outside. It's going on 2 years, committed every morning, rain, snow, or shine. I walk outside and go live on my Facebook for accountability, because when I get outside, no matter how I'm feeling, I could have high blood sugar, I could be feeling exhausted or not feeling well or whatever. It's a non-negotiable. I get up and I move, and I committed to 10 minutes, because trying to do anything more was, I couldn't wrap my head around it.
Yeah.
So start simple, start small, just get started. And when I started to do, okay, gratitude, practice of gratitude, and I'm talking like from the heart, and then movement outside in nature. When you get your body into motion and flow, our bodies are meant to move and flow. Our issues are in our tissues. If you are feeling the weight of the world, move. So I can't stress that to you enough, even if it's to your mailbox and back. Like,
but it's outside, right? In the fresh air.
Inside too, but for me, I needed to be outside because of the anxiety and the depression and feeling closed in and feeling that, like, the heaviness. I needed space. I needed to be able to see for distance. I needed the fresh air to really breathe it in. And you guys, it's not me, this stuff works, and it's scientifically proven.
I think movement is so important, but I do feel like go outside, even just around your block, get out in the fresh air. Because I think it connects you to nature. It's very, very healing. So those are the first two, the gratitude and then healing. So these are creating habits of gratitude, habits of going outside. And what other ones?
And then I started to be very aware of what I was putting into my body as far as nourishment, and nourishment as far as the thoughts, the conversation I would have with myself, my relationship with myself, because ultimately I was in such a bad place, and I didn't love myself. I didn't take care of myself. And if I kept on that path, I was going to have some serious health problems.
Yeah.
So, nourishment.
So health. So being aware of the nourishment and for your brain. I know putting in, do you feel like I created the habit? Like, honestly, habits change your life. And I know that if we can create bad habits, if our brain can create bad habits, our brain can create good habits that you get hooked on. And you have to understand that. If you have, well, I know you do, but anyone watching, if you have these bad habits you can't break, then change into good habits that you can't break. And I have a few, like I push in my brain that I have a wireless headset, and I put it in every morning. And while I'm drying my hair and getting ready, because I use habit stacking. If someone says they don't have time, well, stack a good habit on a habit you already do.
That's so
coffee every morning, listen to personal growth. So I have drilled in my head positive thought. I've had to.
Yeah.
So for you, the third one is nourishment, your mind and your body.
100%. Well, I mean, we are what we eat. Let's be honest. If you're feeling sluggish and you're emotional eating, and you're feeling even more sluggish because you're emotional eating, or what are you putting into your body? If you're not nourishing your body, the food is our fuel.
Right. So, is there 4 steps that you do?
Yeah. So it's mindfulness, motion, nourishment, and nature. And nature is the root. Nature is the mothership of all of them, because here's why: you get all of the above outside in nature. It brings all of them together: mindfulness, motion, nourishment, nature. When you're in nature, you're connecting in the present moment. You're not living in the past. You're not living in the future. You can focus on the trees. Like, we have, we're going through winter now, but there's changes of seasons here. And I watch the new growth, and I watched the leaves fall off the trees. And I have snow outside my window, and it is so powerful, because you can see, like, I'm looking into I have woods right here, and there's so many trees, and there's trees that have fallen, and they've lost their branches, but they're still standing. Like, they're still standing. It's just, they're so powerful. It's so powerful to be outside in nature. And even when it's cold, like, people say, "Oh, I don't know how you walk when it's cold." And I'm like, I need it, because it's so exhilarating and refreshing to be outside in the cold weather. And that's what I do. I show people how to connect, like how to dress, how to get your buns out there, no matter what, even if it's just 10 minutes. It's so worth it. 20 minutes is recommended, but just getting started is
And I think, like, if for someone that's in that really dark place, it just, I don't know, it just kills me when I know someone's suffering with a loss, because I like feel their pain, and I picture someone in bed just being like, I can't get up to go outside and go for a walk. And then, but you just put on the clothes and go to the door, just go to the end of your driveway and know that that's a win for the day. Because they always talk about, Brene Brown talks about, if you can look at your day at the end of the day and say, what did I do good, and what did I win? And if a win for someone that is struggling with loss is a shower,
Yeah.
or eating a salad, celebrate the win and step forward. And so the habits, right, will create,
Yeah.
so that everyday habits honestly will totally heal. I can see it.
Yeah. It's changed my life. I can honestly tell you, now when things happen in my life, because I have this strong habitual ritual, I'll call it, every morning and throughout the day. Like, I'm not saying I don't order pizza. I mean, because I am human and I love me some pizza, but for the most part, like what I put into my body and meditating in the morning, getting out into nature, and it it's the thought process, it's the healing habits, it's the habits that heal. And
Yep.
you have to just get started. Because if you look at this and you're like, well, I got to walk and I got to do this and I got to meditate, stackable. You start with one and then you work your way to another one. And this is progress. It's all about progress. This is not about mastering and getting over grief. You don't get over somebody that you love. You just don't.
No.
And so having the knowing and understanding that the grief is love, it gives it a little bit of, takes a little bit of that weight away.
Yeah, makes sense.
The sadness,
I don't
sadness of it.
The sadness. So, and the thing is, you don't want to forget them. You want them to, do you think it's a good habit for someone that's really struggling to start their day with saying, like, I love you, the person I've lost, I love you, I carry you with me, I'm going to live my best life and move on, but you're with me. And then be able, that might be a powerful habit, right? So that you're not forgetting them. You're like, I love you. And also, I just your opinion on this, because I have not had a huge loss like that in my life. Like, I've lost grandparents and that, but not, well, I did lose a friend when I was 17, which haunted me because I've always felt like she was on a vacation because I was so young. I felt like she went to Europe and never, but I was listening to something and I thought that was powerful when his name's Peter Crone. He's an amazing man. And he said that use the word, they passed away, not that you lost them, because you will always feel empty and that you'll always be looking for someone. He said, when people say they lost someone, when you're grieving, it's like, you'll always feel this need to find them and this loss inside you. But he said, they passed. That was their journey. They passed and you loved them, but that was their life journey. And I don't know, do you relate to that? I'm curious what you think. For sure.
My first pillar, mindfulness, it's being very conscious about the words, that how you label things, right? Like, some people, when they say I lost something, of course that makes you feel like there's emptiness in your heart.
Yeah.
I lost somebody. When you say he passed on, it's more, even my body changes.
Yeah.
When he passed on, it's more like, okay, I believe in God. I believe he's in heaven. I believe he's an angel, and I believe he's with me every single day. And he lets me know.
Aww, so beautiful. So I know you've been through so much, and I admire you. I admire your strength, because not everyone can take all the trauma and things you've overcome and push forward and create the habits. It's a lot of work. Yeah. It's a lot of work. I've gone through a lot of other things in my life that I've had to heal, and Kristin knows right about that. And I realized the journey of personal growth and creating these habits is a lot of work. But what is the alternative? Well, it's such deep grief and sadness. Like, so then if you can just, even writing your habits down, right? And saying, and checking them off, I did this today. Yeah. And I'm going to create it so my brain goes to that habit automatically.
And then once I started the gratitude practice, I started setting an intention. Like, okay, I didn't get this done today. Tomorrow is a new day, and I'm going to make sure that I focus on this thing because this needs to get done.
Right.
Because what happens is everything becomes overwhelming, everything. And that's what happens. You start to go into the thought place of, I have to get this done, I have to get this done, I have to get this done, I have to get this done. And your brain and your body are like, but how? When you can't physically move.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it just becomes heavier and heavier. So the question's not how, it's why. Why? And why do I want to feel better? Right. And then your brain gives you a better answer. It's pretty powerful what kind of conversation you have with yourself when you first wake up in the morning and when you lay down to go to sleep at night. It's pretty powerful. The power of the word is I mean, it's life-changing. So when you think, unhealthy habits, old subconscious, old paradigm, and then you're like, no, that doesn't bring me pleasure. That doesn't bring me joy. This doesn't make me feel fulfilled. Okay, what's going to do that? Why do I want it? Boom.
Yeah, this is so powerful. So I think people that are watching too, maybe that have gone through grief and then they've tried to heal and they can't, or it's been years and they're just hanging on to this, can really look back and say, they might be, oh, I tried all that. I tried going for a walk every day. No, it's every day for years. It's not just for a month.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, it's not just for a month. It's when you say habit, it's something that you
progress.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you build off of it. And then you're just going to start to feel better. But words like trying, hoping, it's like, come on. Yes, you can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. That I can tell you for sure. It's, do you want to do it? And making a decision to do it. Because no one's going to do it for you. And that's when my diabetes was out of control. And I'm like, Kristin, nobody is going to take care of you for you. You have to do this.
Right.
And that was the decision. That was like an eye opener for me. It would kind of like slap me in the face. Like, do you feel like this because of what you're doing? Do you want to continue feeling like this, or do you want to feel better?
Right. It's so hard. And it's just not, it'll never be easy. And like you say, you never forget the person you lost to. Never forget the person that passed on. I'm going to use those words. You'll hold them in your heart. You can live true to what they loved. If they were kind, be kind. If they were compassionate, be compassionate. If they were adventurous, be adventurous. Try to carry that piece of them with you and live big for them. Even, I know it is painful, but I think as humans, we do have a greater strength inside of us that we can tap into that sometimes we don't know is there. But Kristin is also amazing. She's come out with it's called a Habit Healing 30-Day Challenge. I love 30-day challenges because it holds you accountable. Do you want to tell people about that? And then we should probably finish out, but I really want people to know.
I'll tell you guys, this 30-day program, Habit Healing, Rewriting Your Story in 30 Days, is basically the conversation that you have with yourself and the story that you tell yourself. The story I was told about, autoimmune disease. I'm not going to be able to lose weight. I'm not going to be able to do the things I used to do. I'm not going to have energy. I'm not going to this and all the symptoms. And I believed it. It was until I rewrote the story in my head by stacking these 4 pillars. And that is what has changed my life. And that is what this was born from.
Right.
Yeah.
So that you said rewriting your story. So in 30 days, the whole idea is it a Facebook group? It's a challenge people join?
It's a private Facebook group, and I will be very active and live with you guys, doing all kinds of little things in there, surprises, because I love connecting with people, especially people that are feeling so stuck, because I truly believe every single one of us is unstuckable. And this challenge, I can tell you, I'm proof in the pudding. You will come out on the other side when you stack and work this program and develop the tools that you need to get out of bed, to get out of your head, to get your body into motion and flow, and to redirect the focus and the thoughts, being conscious of the words that you're using, how you're talking to yourself, especially first thing in the morning, developing that deep gratitude feeling. And when you say, I'm so grateful, you mean it to the soul, to the core, to the root of your body. And this is what I teach. And the results that you will receive is building on changing your life and rewriting your story.
That's amazing. And I actually really believe in that 30-day challenge, because like you say, that's going to create habits. So if people can be accountable, they can check in with you every day. And it's amazing what happens after 30 days when you do the same thing every day. And I found that with gratitude, because I didn't understand it. And I would just say the words when I was trying to practice gratitude. And after around 30 days, it became deeper. And
Yes.
it's been now years where the minute I wake up, I go to gratitude. I can't help it. And it's powerful. But we should probably sign off. Is there anything else you want to say?
I just wanted to say thank you so much for having me again. And I also want to offer for your listeners, if for the first 5 people that sign up and refer somebody, I will offer complimentary one-on-one deep dive coaching.
A one-on-one with you?
Yeah.
So if I sign up,
yeah. If you sign up and you refer somebody, you get, and one session is $225. So
oh, that's so nice. You do that for free. That's beautiful.
Totally complimentary, because I know the impact that I'm making on people. I know it. It's happening. It's happened. I mean,
thank you,
Kristin. Beautiful.
Honestly, thank you so much. Where do people go to sign up then?
You can go to KristinZako.com. I can even share the link in the comments on the Facebook or wherever you would like me to.
Okay, we'll share it in the comments. Honestly, I thank you for coming on. And thank you for your vulnerability and sharing that raw story. I just think you're beautiful. And I think I've met the most amazing people in the Compassion Project. And it seems like sometimes someone that's gone through so much, they feel so much for other people. They want to help someone through pain, and I just think it's a beautiful thing you're doing. And I'm honored to know you. I adore you.
Thank you. I think you're doing magnificent things as well.
Thanks everyone for watching. And yeah, I'll have to find out who gets the one-on-one with you.
Yeah, I mean, 5 people. That's a lot of one-on-ones. So I'm ready.
Thanks. Okay. Thanks everyone for watching. Bye.
Bye.